Doc on the Run. We help injured runners run.
Now, there's really only one goal you need to have when you get a running injury. Now, just last weekend, I was speaking at the International Foot and Ankle Foundation meeting in Lake Tahoe. And basically, I was lecturing to a group of physicians, podiatrists, foot and ankle surgeons, all about running injuries. I gave 3 different talks, and one of them was on specifically about tendon injuries in athletes and what we can do differently to help you get back to activity sooner. And at the end of that session, there's a question and answer session, and doctors asked different questions, but one really interesting question that came from Dr. Thomas was whether or not, there's something to do differently when you negotiate with athletes. And specifically, she said, look, what happens and what do you do exactly when a runner basically, tries to renegotiate their activity level with you, the doctor? And I said, look, this is probably one of the most valuable things you'll get from this the entire weekend, honestly, with what I've said. So, I talked about stress fractures, I talked about tendon injuries, I talked about how the standard of care really doesn't work for runners and athletes in general. But instead of all the stuff I've said, this is a good question because I think that for most doctors, this can be the most helpful thing, because this is what frustrates a lot of doctors is you're a runner, right? You get injured, but you want to run. That's just the way it is. I mean, yesterday I ran 5 miles on a trail. My knee was hurting, and I ran anyway. So it wasn't a big deal, and I knew it wasn't a big deal because I understand, what's going on with the injury. But it's not really a major injury. It's just I hit it when I was rock climbing. It was kind of sore, but it was only a 5-mile run. But all runners do this. I do it. You do it. Every runner does it. There's several reasons that happens, and I think it's really important to think of a couple of key things. The first thing is this: when you're injured, you have to face it. You really do have to have a shift in your mindset. This is something you have to do, and it's crucial if you really want to recover as quickly as possible. You got injured basically while you were hopefully sticking with your training plan, but it may have been because you deviated from your training plan. You stacked a couple of workouts too close together. You got injured. But what every runner wants to do is they want to stick to that schedule. They see that schedule. It's posted on their wall. It's posted on their computer. They have it as a reminder on their phone or whatever. And you know that you really have to do all those workouts, and you believe if you don't do all of those workouts, you will not achieve your goal. And that is not necessarily true. You have to have this shift in your mindset where you say, okay, look, I'm injured. I have one thing, one structure, one bone, one tendon, one ligament, whatever, one part that is injured. But the rest of my body is strong, and I can strengthen everything else, continue to build everything else, so that when I actually start running, I'm not really going to be far behind because I'm going to maintain my fitness. I'm going to strengthen everything else. I'm going to build everything else. And I'm going to let that one injured thing heal while I do that. So that's the first big shift you have to make. Second thing is you have to realize that your schedule, that schedule that you have, your training plan, often will lead you off course and make you worse. So do not allow that to happen. Don't just stare at your schedule when you have an aching foot and think, well, I'm supposed to do 20 miles on Sunday. I have to do 20 miles on Sunday. Don't think that way. That will get you off course and it will mess you up. So to answer this doctor's question, she said, how do you talk to them? And when they say, well, can I just run a couple of miles or whatever? I said, look, this is really simple. The most important thing you can do is you can get the runner, you can remember that your actual most important goal is to finish your race on time. Now that seems obvious, but with every single question, when people ask me, well, okay, can I run today only 5 miles? I say, okay, well, look, you have a stress fracture in your foot. Do you really think that if you run 5 miles today and it hurts when you just walk on it in your living room, do you think that's going to make it more likely or less likely that you will run 3 hours and 20 minutes in the Houston Marathon? So if you have a specific goal of doing 3 hours and 20 minutes at the Houston Marathon to qualify for Boston, it's unlikely that if you basically apply the same kind of force to an injured structure, that it's going to make it more likely that you're going to achieve your goal. So with every single workout, everything you look at, every time that you try to renegotiate with yourself when you see your training plan and feel like you're missing out on a workout, is to think, is this workout going to actually get me closer or further away from finishing my race in my desired goal time? That's really the most important thing. Just don't let your schedule distract you. So you have to talk to your coach and rework your plan in accordance with whatever injury you have. You have to figure out how can you shift things so you can recover now and then resume training the way that your coach previously designed you and catch back up with your schedule at some point so that you can make that goal and achieve that goal of finishing your race on time. You have to talk to your doctor And with your doctor, don't just keep trying to renegotiate like, well, can I just run today? Can I run tomorrow? Can I run the next day? When can I run? Is it going to be in a week, 2 weeks, whatever? This is what runners do because we want to run. That's what we enjoy. But you have to remember, there are all these other exercises, all these other activities you can do that will strengthen and fortify you, the running machine, while protecting that one injured structure. So that's what you've got to track down with your doctor. So instead of trying to get them to, appease you and let you run specifically, try to get them to give you specific exercises, specific activities that you can do. So the question is, what can I do that will actually help me maintain my running fitness without making this injury worse? So just remember, your goal is not to stick to your training plan. When you get injured, your goal is to remember that you want to finish your race on time. And so you need to talk to your doctor specifically about all the things you can do that will help you achieve that one goal.
Doc on the Run. We help injured runners run.